this thing that would have been about 2 inches long. And they said, well, our ancestor lived in the forest canopy and ate insects. We were insectivores. So I closed my eyes and I said, okay, I want to go back there. I want to do an endogenous thought experiment in science and see what comes in from the ether. What was our life like then? Because that's a big clue of who we are and where we're going. And I had this go into a kind of a dream state, sort of meditation and breath work and whatnot. I go into the dream state and I see this branch at dawn and there's a ball of us all clumped together, because insectivores, they protect each other by going close, warmth and all that stuff. And I watched as this young protoprimate pulled herself away from the ball. The story always comes to me to do this kind of shit. And she's creeping out on the limb at dawn. Why? Because she sees a glistening globule of something. And why is this important? Because that's sugar. That's tree sap that comes out at night. And the diet of these insectivores are leaves and flowers and stuff, and catching like a dragonfly, which is a major kill for protein, and sucking down tree sap. So it's a fries, burger, and a shake diet. That's our diet. That's an insectivore diet. And she's creeping out on the limb, and she's sucking down this globule of sweet. And one eye is looking back to see if somebody in the community notices her, because she'll get busted. Sound familiar? The other eye is looking forward on the limb, and it sees this very trippy scale pattern, this trippy pattern of color. She doesn't know what it is, but what it is, it's a tree snake. And the tree snake was this sole giant predator that survived the impact in Mexico that killed the dinosaurs. And then we rose after that, although we may have been earlier. The tree snake is on the branch waiting for her. And so she's getting high on all this sugar, because we still get high on sugar. Here we are drinking our coffees, right, with our sugar. And she's watching that, and that pattern of scales has evolved to mesmerize her. It's totally there to captivate her. Why? Because the head is under the branch. The head is about to come up. If she doesn't snap out of it and leap back, it will snap her ass down. So this happened for tens of millions of years. This is coevolution. What I believe from that vision that I had was, I said, oh my God, this is why we're mesmerized by screens. We're the only animal that's mesmerized by the screen of a phone, or, texture patterns, movies, moving images. It's totally hardwired into us. We're also terrified of snakes. We have a hardwired circuit in our brain that if you see something that looks like a snake, you just jump involuntarily. Right? That's in there too. I thought, that serpent on that limb that co-evolved our brain to vision, that gave us color vision, that gave us 3D high acuity vision that we were talking about the ancient peoples, because we could see incredible pattern. Why? Because we evolved for 30 million years with those guys. We had to solve that problem in evolution for 30 million years. That's a lot of time. It's a lot of programming. It's a lot of brain development, because the ones that got snapped down weren't as good. It's all good old-fashioned Darwinian evolution. And I sometimes have these conversations with what I call the madre, Mother Nature, or the Gaian planetary plant bolus. And I said to her at one point, I said, you use this technique to evolve us, to evolve our vision, so we could drive cars and we could create media, all this sort of stuff. But it is now coiled around the planet. Technology's coiled around the planet, squeezing out the lifeblood of the planet. And I asked her, does this bother you? And she said, no, as long as you do the prerogative of my prerogative, of life's prerogative, find me a new home. I must make a copy. That's what life does. This planet is a womb and it's a tomb.
Okay, this is all just a crazy vision you had,
this
correct?
Crazy vision
okay.
stuff.
It's a womb and a tomb.
It's a
Find
womb
me
and
a
tomb.
new home. You're talking about space travel. Interplanetary space travel.
Yeah, and what we've done as a species, so I do a lot of this work for NASA of designing strange spacecraft and
what exactly is your educational background when it comes to that stuff?
That stuff, it was started out as good old USC Trojan, graduating in electrical engineering in the 80s, but of course there was hardly any software out at that time. And I was trying to do artificial life in 1987. Can you imagine this? On computers at USC, connected to the ARPANET, and it was too soon. So I restarted it 22 years later, and I made a project called the EvoGrid. But I was too freaking soon. So
you're kind of like the virtual reality people were also too soon.
They were, and in 1993, 94, we all read Snow Crash, and we read Neuromancer and all those sorts of things, and we watched, Minority Report and all that sort of stuff. But I actually started organizations to kickstart virtual worlds on the internet. In 94, 95, when we had the first conference, I wrote a book called Avatars and helped to network together and get all these people in the same room that were building avatar cyberspace. And three-dimensional, you move through and you see objects, fish and people and whatever, and they talk to you, and et cetera, et cetera. And that's how I got connected with Terrence McKenna, because Terrence was fascinated by that. And I was the go-to guy, so he came. He came to the farm and sat at our little table, and I put him into these virtual worlds.